Hello, friends, and welcome to Adventures in Pixie Land. My name is Amy. I am an ordained minister, and we are in Bible study. We are in the Nev, and we are in the book of Nehemiah. We are in chapter 12, the priests and the Levites. Right? These were the priests and the Levites who returned with Zerubbabel, son of Shealtiel, and with Jeshua, Sariah, Jeremiah, Ezra, Amariah, Maluk, Hattush, Shechaniah, Rehum, Miriamoth, Edo, Gineathon, Geinethon. It's got a footnote here with B. Many Hebrew manuscripts, or Vulgate, that's the Latin. Let's see, also other verses in here. I see. There's an I at the end of that name instead of an N. It's a variant of spelling. So, all right. Abijah, Mijamin, that's got a footnote of it. So, okay. Mijamin, as opposed to Miniamin. Miniamin versus Mijamin. Moadiah, Bilgah, Shemaiah, Joiarib, Jedediah, Salu, Amok. Literally, Amok. Hilkiah and Jedediah. These were the leaders of the priests and their associates in the days of Jeshua. The Levites were Jeshua, Binu, Kadmiel, Sherebiah, Judah, and also Mattaniah, who together with his associates was in charge of the songs of thanksgiving. Bakbukiah and Uni, their associates, stood opposite them in service. So, lining, okay. Jeshua was the father of Joachim. Joachim was the father of Eliashib. Eliashib, the father of Jodiah. Jodiah, the father of Jonathan. And Jonathan, the father of Jeduah. In these days of Joachim, these were the heads of the priestly families. Of the Sariah family, Moriah. Of Jeremiah's, Hananiah. Of Ezra's, Meshullam. Of Amariah's, Johanan. Of Maluk's, Jonathan. Of Shechemiah's, Joseph. Now, Shechaniah, that's in Shechaniah, as a footnote of D. So Shecaniah, okay? And the footnote says many Hebrew manuscripts, some Septuagint manuscripts, so that's the Greek, and the Syriac, that's Syrian language, has him being Shebaniah, a B instead of a C in his name. Joseph, okay. Harim's Adana, Adna, Hanana. Of Miriamoth, Helkiah, okay. Miriamoth, Meremoth. Just got a footnote on that. There's some Septuagint, so that's Greek. Meraiooth. Sorry, I had to make sure I was reading that. Light had to hit it the right way. Just, age. Of Edo, Zechariah. Of Gineathon's, Meshullam. Of Abijah's, Zikri. Of Miniamin's. And of Modiai's, Petaliah. Of Bilgah's, Shemua. Of Shemaiah's, Jehonathan, like Jonathan with the EH in the middle, Jehonathan, Than. Jehonathan of Joiaribs, Mattaniah, Jedediah, Uzi of Salu, Kali of Amox, Eber of Hilkias, Hashabiah of Jedediah's, Nathaniel. The family heads of the Levites in the days of Elishuab, Jehoiada, Johanan, and Jaddua, as well as those of the priests, were recorded in the reign of Darius the Persian. The family heads among the descendants of Levi up to the time of Jonathan, son of Eliashib, were recorded in the book of the Annals. The leaders of the Levites were Hashabiah, Sherebiah, Jeshua son of Kadmiel, and their associates, who stood opposite them to give praise and thanksgiving. One section responding to the other, so like a call and answer, so that you're constantly hearing God's praise from some voice. I love that. As prescribed by David, the man of God. Of course, the greatest rock star ever came up with a great way to make sure the music travels. Why wouldn't he? Mattaniah, Bakbukiah, Obadiah, Melushalam, Talmon, and Ekub were gatekeepers who guarded the storerooms at the gates. They served in the days of Joachim, son of Jeshua, son of Jehozadak, and in the days of Nehemiah, the governor, and of Ezra, the priest and scribe. So, this next section, still in the same chapter, called the dedication of the wall of Jerusalem. At the dedication of the wall of Jerusalem, the Levites were sought out from where they lived and were brought to Jerusalem to celebrate joyfully in dedication with the songs of thanksgiving, with the music of cymbals, harps, and lyres. The singers who were brought together from the region around Jerusalem, from the villages of the Netophites, Netophathitess, Neophathites, from Beth Gilgal, from the area of Geba and Azamaveth. For the singers had built villages for themselves around Jerusalem. That's cool. When the priests and the Levites had purified themselves ceremonially, they purified the people, the gates, and the wall. I had the leaders of Judah go up on top, B, right, or alongside of the wall. I also assigned 2 large choirs to give thanks. One was to proceed on top, again see, or proceed alongside the wall to the right, toward the dung gate. Hoshea and half the leaders of Judah followed them, along with Azariah, Ezra, Melushalam, Judah, Benjamin, Shemaiah, Jeremiah, as well as some priests with trumpets. And also Zechariah, son of Jonathan, the son of Shemaiah, the son of Mattaniah, the son of Micaiah, the son of Zakur, the son of Asaph, and his associates, Shemaiah, Azriel, Milali, Milal, Malala, A-I, Malali, Gilgali, Maaiah, Nathaniel, Judah, Hananiah, with musical instruments prescribed by David, the man of God. Ezra, the scribe, led the procession. At the fountain gate, they continued directly up the steps of the city of David, on the ascent to the wall and passed above the house of David to the water gate on the east. So it's a musical procession. I mean, they're playing musical instruments. They've got like ram's horns. They've got, cymbals, and, they're making all kinds of musical noise and singing praise into the Lord. And they're walking through, purifying the place with music, with sound in this procession. The second choir proceeded in the opposite direction. I followed them on top, and then you get D, or them alongside, because not all of the wall would have like ramparts or something up there to do. There are some kings who did do that, where they created places for like crossbows and catapults, but that's not necessarily what they repaired. I followed them on top or alongside of the wall, together with half the people, past the tower of the ovens, see, so there's some tower, to the broad wall, over the gate of Ephraim, the Jeshanah gate, Jeshanah gate, Jeshanah. It's got a footnote of E, or old gate, the fish gate, the tower of Hanel, and the tower of the 100, as far as the sheep gate. At the gate of the guard they stopped. The two choirs that gave thanks then took their places in the house of God. So did I, together with half the officials, as well as the priests, Eliakim, Maaseiah, Miniamin, and Micaiah, Eluniah, my mouth wants to say, it's a word for God, but it's not this name, because that's not what it is. Elioenai. Okay. Elinia. So we're going to go with that. Zechariah and Hananiah with their trumpets. And also Maaseiah, Shemaiah, Eleazar, Uzi, Jehohanan, Malchijah, Elam, and Ezer. The choir sang together under the direction of Jezariah, and on that day they offered great sacrifices, rejoicing because God had given them great joy. The women and children also rejoiced. The sound of rejoicing in Jerusalem could be heard far away. Quite the party going on. At that time, men were appointed to be in charge of the storerooms for the contributions, first fruits, and tithes. From the fields around the towns, they were to bring into the storerooms the portions required by the law for the priests and for the Levites, for Judah was pleased with the ministering priests and the Levites. They performed the services of their God and the services of purification, as did also the singers and gatekeepers, according to the commands of David and his son Solomon. So that, to my brain, is sort of like, it's almost a very pure, clean version of Mardi Gras going on, because there's first fruits are coming in, and what's going on when they do these things, where they're having these like great big festivals where they have all the sorts of animals are being, slaughtered in sacrifice. They're also cooking the rest of the food and feeding the entire population. It's not like it's going to waste, or it's all just going to the Levites. No, there is no way to store the food. You eat it then, before it can get, gross and maggoty and stuff. Just, it's not like they didn't have a refrigerator they could put it in. So they were feeding as many people as they can. And was like, that was part of why it was such a big deal. The people didn't have to worry about where they were going to get their meal for this 7 days. Their leaders and their priests were going to feed them. For long ago, in the days of David and Asaph, there had been directors for the singers and for the songs of praise and thanksgiving to God. So in the days of Zerubbabel and of Nehemiah, all Israel contributed the daily portion for the singers and the gatekeepers. They also set aside portions for the other Levites, and the Levites set aside the portions for the descendants of Aaron.
Motion detected at front door.
So you see how the process is going in the chain of the command. First to the Levites, and then from the Levites to the priests, paying up in tithe and taxes, if you would. And also, you know how all of this is set up by David. Again, the greatest rock star ever. 3,000 years. We're all still, literally, it's in a holy book. First set of holy music to ever exist, the Psalms. His son, wisest person to ever exist, the Proverbs. Right? Saved Jesus. Between them and Jesus, you don't really got a whole bunch in between, right? I mean, come on. I mean, their descendant, right? So that's how he got noticed. The music is how he got noticed. The music is how, like, he's out there in the middle of a field as a kid, starting at about 10, until he gets noticed by, God puts things in motion for him to get noticed. And what he's doing while he's out there at night, usually by himself, tending to these sheep, is creating songs that praise God and ask him for protection and salvation. He's humbling himself because he knows he's at the mercy of God. And that's what he repeatedly does, and that's why he's repeatedly being forgiven and being brought in. That's why the contract with David in the first place. Next kid along in the line, what is the first thing he does? Ask for wisdom. There's a reason why the line. It has to do with the devotion and the willingness to humble and the understanding that we all are God's. He doesn't need us for everything, and we need him for everything. So let us go about the world today remembering that. God likes to, bless in abundance those that praise him regularly. Abundance just looks a little bit different for each person involved. Let's be kind to each other, my friends. Until the next video, when we will be in the final chapter of the book of Nehemiah.